Welcome, welcome. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. This is day 7 of World Unity Week, and today's theme, so rich, is truth, beauty, and goodness. Right through the day, we've had some incredible programs coming here from Room 1 over the day, which had an extraordinary presentation from the Founding Mothers Movement. Do go and look them up. They're doing incredible work right around the world. Today and tonight here in Eastern Time, we are presenting an offering that I'm super excited about, because this is something we're going to be sharing today live here in World Unity Week, and then there is an invitation to join us in person in really just a few weeks in Minneapolis. This program is called Being Minneapolis, Healing Our City, Healing Our World, and we've got 3 extraordinary locals from the Twin Cities that are here to talk to us about the essence and the meaning of what it is to be Minneapolis today. We know in May 2020, Minneapolis came to the whole world's attention through the killing of George Floyd, and so much has happened there since. And the 3 speakers we've got today is Don Samuels, Matthew Cobb, and Tezikiah Gabriel. Welcome each one of you to World Unity Week. We're excited to have you, Don. We're excited to have you, Tez and Matthew. And I'm going to say a little word about each of you as we get into really the juice of this program. So Don Samuels invented and designed toys for 30 years, first as an R&D executive for major manufacturers, then as co-owner of Red Racer Design Studio. He is a 2002 graduate of Luther Seminary and ordained minister. He ministered in public service for years as a community volunteer, then as a 3-term Minneapolis City Council member and member of Minneapolis Public Schools Board. His board service over the years included the Center for Action and Contemplation, Luther Seminary, and Trust for Public Land. He recently retired as CEO of Micro Grants. Don co-founded the Peace Foundation to reduce community crime and violence. That foundation evolved to become the Northside Achievement Zone, which wraps supportive services around 2,400 children and their families to ensure academic success and college career readiness. Don's wife, Sondra, is CEO of the Northern Zone, the Northern Achievement Zone. They raise 3 adult daughters in the midst of the most challenging neighborhood of Minneapolis, where they've lived for 30 years. And Don is going to be one of our hosts when we come to Minneapolis in August. So Don, let's start with you, and I'll do the introductions for Tez and Matthew when we get to them. But we've been having a few preparation calls. We got to know you a little bit. There was one where Dr. Marty K. Casey was on, and really blew our minds with your decades of service to the community. So we're super excited to have you here. Thank you for being with us. And we look forward to hearing the Don Samuels story. Tell us everything, Don. Over to you. We'll need to get you microphone unmuted there. We'll need to get you unmuted.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ben. It's a pleasure to be here and to be unmuted. And it's great to, especially to be here during the World Cup, where people from all over the world are united in the love for one game, demonstrating that if we love the game of life as much as we love soccer, we can come together. It's a beautiful thing. So I was originally from Jamaica. I was born in Jamaica. I came to the United States at 20 years old. In Jamaica, I was 13 when Jamaica became independent. So we inherited British classism, which had long tails in our culture. And I grew up in a classist culture. America, of course, made a great promise that all people are created equal, and broke it for many people. But the British Empire never even made that promise. So it was assumed that all people were not created equal, and that by birth or by merit, we achieve superiority or failure. But I was fascinated by the American version of that paradox, with its lofty goals and inequitable outcomes. And um, and at the same time, I was observing all this from my perch as a kid, where my dad was a Pentecostal preacher in Jamaica, where we had a great commitment to oneness in Christ, but not in community. And I found that troubling as a child. I didn't know how to articulate it or how to question it. I wasn't really allowed to. But there was an apathy towards the physical and social needs of the general public, but a deep obsession with the well-being of their souls. And so when I heard Martin Luther King echoing across the Caribbean Sea, with a pastor, a black pastor about my dad's height and appearance, and speaking about a social relevancy and a global and earth-based relevancy to the good news, I was just captivated. And so when I came here in at age 20, I made a pledge that I would go back to Jamaica and live in the lowest income community and serve there. But I stayed in America and decided to do that here. And so Sandra and I got married about 30 years ago, and together we were in sync on this issue. And we moved into North Minneapolis and to serve and to give back. We knew that uh, in addition to America's racist redlining and freeway disruptions of community, that was compounded by white flight, and then in many cases, black middle class flight. And the symptoms of concentrated poverty impacted education, employment, and social realities in these communities. And of course, the dysfunctions that follow concentration of poverty include crime, drugs, becoming the depository of sex offenders, and America's vices. And so while parts of our community are doing well, even in North Minneapolis, there are parts where the vices of America were in full expression. And that's where we moved to, in one of the troubled parts of the city. So it was no surprise, but a little bit of a shock when a bullet came through our baby's designated window. Sandra was pregnant, and lodged in the wall above the crib. We knew we had to get involved right away. And um, and so we started a block club and started to organize people and hold meetings in our living room. We were so effective over a couple of years in transforming our block and then expanding to the rest of the neighborhood that my neighbors asked me to run for office. They really should have asked Sandra, but um, they asked me. And so I ran for office, and to the surprise of everyone, as a relatively new resident of Minneapolis, because of our intense organizing over the couple of years, I was elected to represent this community in the Fifth Ward of the city. Immediately, I realized that the city, while it was part of the solution, was not the whole solution. And so I decided to hold vigils every time someone was killed. There was a lot of homicide, and that I would make a public statement about the homicides, that we valued the life lost. We would not consider it a happy loss, but it was a tragic loss, and that we would honor that person for the dignity of their lives. And uh, and so I started out by having um, on the ground in the neighborhoods, um, block club, not block club, but office meetings. We can go back to the other slide, um, Laura, the first slide. And so I would set up a table and add a banner that said that this was the Fifth Ward for the day, and I would meet constituents there. And I would set this up wherever there was a troubled neighborhood, when people were when there was a high crime area that needed attention of both the city and the neighbors, and did that for the duration of my tenure. I also had vigils. And next slide, Laura, you can see This is one of the vigils. And usually it was a circle. Whenever there was someone was killed, we'd form a circle and we would honor the life. And I would be there from morning till night. People would come and go. And this is Minnesota. It gets down to 0 degrees. So it was quite a commitment and a high risk commitment to do that. And but people embraced the concept and came out. And pretty soon it became clear that this was an opportunity. So I created opportunity for people to sign a book that would be given to the mayor and the city council, the governor, and the chief of police, saying what they wanted out of our city leadership. You can go to the next slide, Laura. And so people would sign in a book their emotions and their feelings about the tragedy, and that book, one book would be given to the family and one book to the city. And I would make copies of all of those statements and type them up and deliver them in a manila in an email to the city council, the mayor, and others. And then I would put the original copies of the originals in a manila envelope and drop them on the desks of all 12 other council members. And that really changed and the mayor, and that really changed the city's attitude towards crime in our neighborhood. Because attention to wards and areas of the city are usually based on demand. And our neighbors had become so frustrated by the neglect of their demand that people just didn't reach out much anymore. And so recreating the demand was a big part of that. And so delivering those to the mayor and the city council was an important thing. And next slide. So George Floyd, of course, became, in a way, the ultimate social crisis. And if you were to ask someone in Minneapolis who knew Minneapolis well, where was George Floyd killed? They would have said North Minneapolis, because we have the highest concentration of African Americans, highest concentration of poverty in the city, and so while he was killed in South Minneapolis, it was felt in North Minneapolis, and that's where we live. Next. And of course, it sparked protests all over the country and the world. And the phrase "I can't breathe" became a national call for change, a global call for change in law enforcement and in government oppression of people. There was a lot of course, action on the streets of Minneapolis. You know that the precinct was burnt. You can go to the next slide. The third precinct was burned, and it's still scorched today. Many of the businesses that were destroyed are still impacted today. And of course, this is South Minneapolis, but North Minneapolis, because of the connection to George Floyd, experienced a lot of burning and looting also. Next. And so in North Minneapolis, we had a parking lot of a liquor store that became the retail center for all of the goods that were looted from the shops and stores across the city. Target, Walgreens, AutoZone, all of their products were advertised on social media to come to Broadway and Lyndale to buy, to shop. And those kinds of activities continued without police intervention, because the police had become so intimidated by the possibility of starting another riot. And so I walked around that area and saw this and thought, wow, this the protests are in full swing. The city is trying to figure out, meeting and trying to figure out what to do. By this time, I had, of course, been out of the council. But what does God want? What is the spiritual response to the killing of George Floyd? And it was at that point that I had the idea to create a space right in one of the burned out blocks or malls of West Broadway, our main drag, where people could come and pray silently for the duration, for a time and a period matching the duration of George Floyd's torture. And so we had 30 days of silent prayer. On the first 10 days, we grieved for our city in silent prayer and our own complicity. On the second 10 days, we meditated on our openness to change. And on the third 10 days, our prayers for a new future. Next. We created opportunities. This, of course, is right around the area where that the tent was set up, the prayer tent was set up. You can see the destruction right in the mall and across the street from where we had our silent prayer. So we were right in the middle of it. On the lower left, you see an ATM machine that vandals worked on for about 35 hours, right about 10 feet, 20 feet from the street, from the sidewalk of a county highway, with police and residents going back and forth. You had this open uh, demonstration of the rejection of norms. These guys are working on that ATM. So that was how lawless things were at this time, and in this space where we had this 30-day event. Next. So we created two tents. The one you're looking at is a tent for prayer, and the one you're looking from is a meeting tent where people signed up, where people waited to enter the tent to pray, and where we fellowshiped. And the flags you see flying are people would tie flags to the struts on the tent as with their prayers. Next. And this was a tent. We went to Menards. Laura, who's showing the slides, was my aide at City Council and policy aide, and is still a friend today. And she was the shopper for these beautiful rugs. You can see it's in the tent. You see on the left, you see a prayer. Um, this is we got that from the Catholic Basilica, where it's a prayer station. People could sit and pray, kneel and pray, or stand and pray. And each mat was for one prayer. And because of COVID distance, we could only fit 9 people under the tent at a time. Each time someone got up, we would clean the chairs off, and 9 people at a time. Those 9 left, we'd clean the chairs off. A new 9 came in, and we went like that from 10 a.m. to from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day, and the tent was hardly ever empty. And the prayers lasted for 8 minutes and 34 seconds. That was what we thought George Floyd. And you can see the on the right side, you can see the shrine we created. Brian Mogren, who is, I think, also on here, was our ethicistician, you could say, and he had fresh flowers every day. And that singing bowl you see at the top of that table is where we chimed in the prayer and chimed out the prayers. Next. And you can see here the tent is pretty much full at this point. Someone's kneeling, someone's sitting. And they would do that for the 8 minutes and 34 seconds after uh, a short paragraph of meditation was read. Next.
Sorry, Don, there's a delay. I'm hitting next, but there.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so the leader would, you see here, she's in, she would read the script, and then she would hit the gong. And we had a different reader every day. We had a different congregation, African American congregation, hosting the event every day. And we wanted African Americans because George Floyd, of course, was African American. We wanted the African American leadership to lead this. This is Minnesota, so if you just put out a call, it's going to be primarily white, and so we knew we had to be deliberate in creating a black leadership for this cause and for the rituals. Next. Yeah, so here's an African American male leader, and he is giving instructions, and he's going to read. You can see people kneeling, sitting for 8 minutes and 34 seconds. Next. You see those sprays that are there on each mat. We tried to make everything as aesthetic as possible. And I imagine that this group you see on the left is before we start every morning, we had to unload items from our storage locker that is right next to our area. We got this area dedicated, donated to us by the owner of the mall. And so we kind of just put things together as we went. We had volunteers who brought the tables out, who brought out the chalkboard, who brought out all of the things, for the chairs and so on for the prayer tent. And we had tables in this fellowship tent for meeting and fellowship. We had a chalkboard where people could write their sentiments after prayer. Next. You can see people would tie their guests would tie their prayers on ribbons on the tent. On the left, you see the ribbons. They would just take one out and with their prayers tie the strips on the tent poles. Next. And halfway through, or maybe a third of the way through, we had the idea to put up paintings because the whole George Floyd response had a lot of graffiti art on boarded up storefronts, and that was the vibe of the moment. And so we put up some 8 by 10 sheets of plywood, covered them with canvas, and had local African American young people come in to do art while we had the vigil, and then the art became part of the environment. Next. You can see here the art beginning to take shape as the young artist painted. We mounted the plywood on these cement barriers, and they all were coming together. We still have this art, by the way. It's all rolled up and preserved, and we want to make it part of the experience when you come to Minneapolis in August. Next. And here is another of the artists and or moving piece. Next. Next. Here's one of our artists and his piece on the left. And here is another piece. Next. So we have all of these pieces well preserved, and you'll be moved and impressed when you see them. Other thing we did is after you went through the prayer, in addition to being able to write your thoughts on the chalkboard, you could record them using the paintings as the background. And so we had dozens and or hundreds of 30-second statements about grief, about openness to change, and about a vision for the city as people finished praying. Next. Yes, and so you see on the right there, we have, oh gosh, what's your name, Laura?
Krista Tippett.
Krista Tippett, yeah, sorry. Krista Tippett, who is, of course, has a national broadcast and a radio broadcast, was a big part of our tent experience and helped us to get funding for the tents, etc. You can see the boarded up stores in the background. And these are one of our church teams that came from Fellowship Baptist Church to host the guests for a day. Next. Yeah, so that was Healing Our City, the prayer tent. But then the folks wanted to continue it in different ways. But that became a crescendo when Chauvin was put on trial. There was a lot of tension in the city. We didn't know if there would be another riot. Would he be convicted? Would he be released? And then that would start another uproar. So people wanted to pray again. So it got cold by that time. And so the tent was out, and we then moved to an online version, and we had prayer tent, virtual prayer tent every morning for 83 days, I believe, at 8 o'clock or 8:30 a.m. And we had up to 800 people on a call. And you can see this, just like this, we had the folks showing up every day. You can see the variety of speakers we had included in this picture. We have a Buddhist priest. We have, of course, we had Krista Tippett. We have civil rights activists. We have from the 60s. We have a local priest, Catholic priest, and and we have a Jewish rabbi and our reflection leaders were spoke for 5 minutes after our period of silence and a song. It was very moving and gratifying. Next. This is George Floyd Square. If you come in August, this is one of the very moving scenes you'll see. Just wanted to end with this and all the names of all the guys who've been killed by police officers are here all over the country. Are we done, or is there another slide? Yeah, this is again some of our other speakers. You can see where they are. Their titles are not here, but there were a lot of women, a lot of people of color. We had Jewish people, Buddhist, Hindu. We had Christian, Catholic, and Protestant. We had Muslim. We had activists. We had artists. We had people singing, people doing spoken word. And it was a great variety of people. And it was and very, very engaging. I think I've used up all my
Wow.
time, and I'll just say that we're moving to a Healing Our World version of Healing Our City, and I'm hoping that someday you'll be part of that.
Don, well, let that day be today. We are absolutely a part of it. Now you're bringing us in to this beautiful work. Thank you for the sharing. Sorry, we've got a little baby running around here making some noise. But thank you for the sharing and the incredible presentation, work you put into the preparation to share with us some of the incredible work that you and Sandra and the whole team and the whole community that has been activated over those years. I really love the design, Don, of how you created that, and you've got the interfaith prayers at the heart of it. You're using the arts and bringing in all the creativity. You've got the beautiful structure. I love the 10 days to grieve, 10 days to be open to what might happen, and then 10 days for prayers for a new future. Such a beautiful architecture in everything you have created. So we're really, really grateful to Matthew Cobb for introducing us to you, Don, because you really, it's enriching. And this opportunity for us to come, we're going to be talking about that a little bit more as we go through the program today. This is something that we can actually show up there and enter into the work that you and Sondra and the whole community have created there, which is an incredible privilege and opportunity. Let's get to our next amazing speaker, known and beloved to many of us in this community. It's Tezikiah Gabriel. And Tez, of course, is the executive director of Pathways to Peace, an extraordinary global organization which has created a lasting legacy right around the planet. Tez is a UN peace messenger, organization. Sorry, Pathways to Peace is a UN peace messenger organization in consultation with ECOSOC and the DGC. As the owner and senior consultant for Gabriel Associates for over 33 years, Tez has worked with mission-based organizations and initiatives to create greater mission impact in relevant and regenerative environments that affect real and positive change in our world. Tezikiah is also an ordained minister who conducts interfaith and intercultural ceremonies and works with individuals and groups to empower the divine within each of us. Tez, and you live in St. Paul, so part of this is your world, your place, your hometowns. It's so great, Tez, to have you here in World Unity Weekend. We're looking forward to your sharing today.
Thank you, Ben. And I feel like we all just need to take a deep breath. Don, that presentation touched my heart and brought me back. And so I've long admired your work and Sondra's work. Long time ago, we connected and did a little work together. And of course, Matthew and Erica have become fast friends, but truly, truly, truly your work, Don, is an expression of truth, beauty, and goodness in action. And so I just so appreciate it and you. So thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. So I'm very honored to be here with my esteemed co-presenters and with all of you as I look out into the audience, friends and colleagues and those peace builders that we've worked alongside of. Just so honored and delighted to be back with you. So as Ben said, my name is Tezikiah Gabriel, or Tez, because Tezikiah is quite a mouthful. And I'm the executive director of Pathways to Peace. And I am a proud Minnesotan. I've lived and worked in Minnesota my entire life. And so, as they say, born and raised, I was a part of the civil rights movement here, the anti-Vietnam War movement here, the resurgence of the feminist movement here. And then I went on to found and direct anti-violence programs, became a funder of grantor of those anti-violence programs, and then founded Gabriel Associates, as Ben said. For the past 33 years, I've had the privilege of working with organizations that wake up every day wishing to make a positive difference in our world. So I'm just delighted. So I think that many of you that are called to Minneapolis are called because of the invasion we experienced here. Operation Metro Surge, which was by its very name and then by its action, a military action on in our neighborhoods, in our communities, and on our streets. Truly an invasion. And so I wanted to give everyone here a little sense, and it's only my own perspective, but a little more of a sense of what it is like and has been like to be here. It truly has been life-changing. And we have lost a lot through that invasion. And we've gained some things that are so important and so profound. And so I just want to take a few minutes to share a little of my perspective around what happened here and is still happening here to a lesser degree, and some of those losses and some of those gains. So, Michael, if you'd like to pull up my slides, and thank you so much, Michael, for taking that on.
The slides up, Tez.
Okay, so thank you. So I love looking at all of you, so I'm not paying attention to that screen. So thank you for reminding me, Ben. I think one of the things coming out, and even in the middle of the tragedy of the invasion, is just a tremendous amount of pride in being a Minnesotan. And I think being Minneapolis really captures that recognition that what happened here was so unique, so profound, and so important that it's something that brings with it, for me, great reverence and great lifting up of the people here and how we responded, which was like nothing I've ever experienced in all of my movement times. So next slide, please. So here is some of the areas in South Minneapolis where the invasion occurred. So you can see that Minneapolis, the neighborhoods are beautiful. Minneapolis is surrounded by green space, by lakes and ponds, tree-lined streets. So it's really a beautiful community. And then the Metro surge, the invasion of our people, robbing us of our safety and security in our own homes, businesses, schools, churches, workplaces. There was no place that was safe. Next slide, Michael. So here are some photos that depict some of the horror that took place. Again, I think for me, some of what was lost was a sense of innocence around this fragile belief I had that in a democracy, this could never happen. And so, the next slide, please, Michael. As you all know, we lost two beautiful peace builders. The last thing that Renee Good said out the window as she was trying to drive away and was stopped, the last thing she said was, "I don't want to fight you." And Alex Pretti was reaching out to help a woman who ICE had pushed down when he was pounced upon by many federal agents and killed. So at this point, I want to pull up a video, and it's short, but to give you a sense of what it felt like to be in that war zone. Go ahead, Michael.
The images are now familiar across the Twin Cities. Federal agents making a stop, observers rushing to the scene with whistles and car horns, scuffles breaking out with agents deploying pepper spray or tear gas, and an endless standoff between protesters and officers at the federal building which serves as a base for the immigration crackdown here.
It's unconscionable to not stand up and say this is wrong. This is part of democracy.
In recent days, hundreds of additional agents have been sent to Minnesota, on top of the roughly 2,000 already on the ground. That's more than the size of the Minneapolis and St. Paul police departments combined. In a statement to the NewsHour, the Department of Homeland Security says it's made over 2,000 arrests throughout its largest operation in history, adding, quote, "This is just the tip of the iceberg."
Governor Tim Walz responding, saying the community will need to recover from the impacts left behind.
The fact of the matter is, they left us with deep damage, generational trauma. They left us with economic ruin in some cases.
And some community members visiting the memorials for Alex Pretti and Renee Good in different parts of Minneapolis echoed Walz's reaction.
Hopefully it's true. Hopefully they do leave and we can get back to somewhat normalcy here.
I feel like weeping for joy that they're going, but on the other hand, weeping for the trauma, the sadness.
Yeah. Weeping for the trauma and the sadness, and we are still weeping. We are still grieving the losses. And yet there's more to the story and more to come. So some of the negative impacts on Minneapolis, there were economic losses that exceeded 203 million in the first month, just the first month. Immigrant-owned businesses saw sharp declines, and many of them have since closed. Demand increased for food assistance, housing support, legal and mental health services. But most of all was the impact on families and children. So many families lived and are still living in fear, and as a result are staying in their homes. Fear of detention, deportation, and this is beyond immigrants and refugees, because the detentions, the people who were picked up were not always immigrants and refugees. They were people of color who looked different. And so everyone who had brown or black skins, and some Asians as well, decided that they couldn't go out. They couldn't continue their daily lives. Schools reported decreased attendance and greater demand for counseling. Children experienced and still experience anxiety, sleep disturbances, difficulty concentrating, and other trauma-related symptoms. More than 70 Minnesota children were detained during Operation Metro Surge. Some were detained with parents, while others experienced separation from parents and caregivers. We expect even larger numbers as we try to put together the real statistics with the federal government, who isn't providing that information. There are many families that are still missing their children. And so everyone in the metro area was a victim, whether directly being violated, abused, or witnessing that abuse or knowing those who were being at home, couldn't go out, and were fearful for their lives. So where are we at today? So Operation Metro Surge has officially ended, as you heard, but ICE continues immigration and enforcement in Minnesota with a reduced presence. Civil rights lawsuits and investigations are ongoing. Federal prosecutions related to alleged interference with ICE operations are proceeding. Community organizations continue providing legal assistance, trauma counseling, and know your rights education. Businesses and families in affected neighborhoods are still in recovery. And again, we all feel the effects to a greater or lesser degree. But you can see that we responded in the most incredible ways, far beyond what anyone could imagine. With a wide range of highly organized grassroots efforts that supported families, both immigrant and non-immigrant families who were detained or were threatened and couldn't leave their homes. And these efforts included things like delivering food, diapers, formula, and hygiene supplies to families, creating neighborhood mutual aid networks for groceries, childcare, transportation, and prescription pickups, raising emergency funds for rent, utilities, and essential expenses, checking on elderly residents, single-parent households, and vulnerable neighbors, delivering medications and helping families access health care, opening churches as relief and distribution centers, providing free meals through local restaurants, supporting students and families through schools and parent groups, training volunteer legal observers, holding Know Your Rights workshops in multiple languages, sharing verified community information about enforcement activity, providing transportation to appointments and legal services, offering temporary housing and rental assistance, showing solidarity through local businesses and donation drives, providing mental health, pastoral, and emotional support, creating online resource hubs and volunteer directories, accompanying families to court and appointments, and organizing peaceful marches, vigils, and community solidarity events. A defining feature of the ICE Metro Surge was the response of ordinary neighbors, helping one another through mutual aid, compassion, and community solidarity. Actively being in service to others really kept hope alive. Next slide, please, Michael. So what does it mean to be Minneapolis? And I'd like to say, what did I learn through this process? And it was so much. And you can tell by my response that it's still very close to my heart. So some of the things I learned and some of the things that I think it means to be Minneapolis is to recognize that peace building comes in many different packages. And it all boils down to love, compassion, and service to others. We all learned that when tested, we will put our lives on the line to take care of others, even those we don't know and those who are distinctly different from ourselves. It reminded me of that quote from Dr. Martin Luther King: injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We felt that. And that ordinary people, we've heard it over and over again, but it was demonstrated that ordinary people are capable of extraordinary feats of heroism. So what I gained was life-changing and profound. Witnessing neighbors coming together across generations, cultural, ethnic, racial, and geographic boundaries. It felt like kinship, true kinship, and an on-the-ground demonstration of true unity. It was truth, it was beauty, and it was so goodness. When I think about new beginnings, we are, through this experience, awakened to the possibility of how peace can look when we come together in lifting up, supporting, loving, and caring for each other across those artificial boundaries. And if we can carry that experience of unity into our daily lives, it can be a new beginning for each of us. So what does it mean to be? What does being Minneapolis mean? To me, it means recognizing how extraordinary people are, how extraordinary this experience was of people coming together in unity to care for each other, holding that within our hearts and modeling it in our daily lives. It was courage, it was strength, it was compassion, and it was service to the whole, and so much more. So I hope for those coming to Minneapolis that you will come with humility, with reverence for what has occurred here and the people that you will be connecting with, and joy, as well as honoring the grief, the joy that we've come through this and we are Minnesota strong. So thank you.
Thank you, Tez. Thank you for that beautiful, really immersion into some of the recent history. There's some really challenging events that have taken place and lives that have been destroyed through that recent history. But thank you for bringing us into it and the incredible response. There seems to be something about the Minnesota spirit, Minneapolis and St. Paul, and there's something happening there. We can kind of feel it and sense it, and through your presentation and Don's presentation, we get a little taste that there's something about the response which is bringing out the best of us. And really that's what's calling us to come, absolutely, in humility, and to come and to learn and to listen and to witness what it is that's happening in Minneapolis. Thank you, Tezikiah, for bringing us there. So our next speaker in this beautiful relay is Matthew Mickey Cobb. And Matthew listens to his daddy, who was very proud of his firstborn Sonny boy and namesake. He also listens to his mummy, who is very happy to see her man-child as a grown-up who serves first and gives often every day by day. He also listens to his wife of 35 years, who continues to bare surprise as she stands shoulder to shoulder and walks ever homebound, where they are experiencing how to become one heart in Christ's loving awareness. He also listens to his 2 adult children who teach him on the ways of his heart through their creativity and steadfast care. His whole lifespan has been, is, and continues to be quite full of listening for God's beating heart. Matthew, that's a very deep, introduction of your service and work. I want to thank you for listening to us when we came to you and said this idea of coming to Minneapolis. You really opened up the doorways and connecting us to Don and all the other things that you're doing. So first and foremost, thank you. And Matthew, thank you for being here with us on this program. We're looking forward, brother, to your sharing today.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate my elders who have spoken before me, Tezikiah, my newest friend, and Don Samuels and his wife Sandra, old friends. We've only lived here, my wife Erica and I, for almost 10 years, but this is the place we want to be planted. So we just got to find a place to be buried, that's all. And we were really looking forward to what might happen here in August. And so I've dropped into the chat a reflection on what pilgrimage means to me and my long walk with the Lord Jesus in my faith tradition. Don said earlier, when you had the vigil, they had the silence. And before the silence, there was usually a holy writ, a poem, a scripture reading that would take us into silence. And so I've chosen Matthew chapter 10, verses 40 and 42 to take us into this discussion, conversation about what pilgrimage might actually mean when folks come to be Minneapolis. Whoever receives you receives me, and whoever receives me receives the one who sent me. And whoever gives one of these little ones only a cup of cold water in the name of a disciple, assuredly I say to you, she will by no means lose her reward. So in honor of the surge of divine feminine coming into the world, making sure that we have that gender inclusivity when we read scripture is really important to me. And I think that receptivity that Matthew in his gospel talks about is really about the welcome. And in this particular reading, the disciples have gone out for the first time, and they're coming back and they're feeling the pressure and the persecution, and Jesus is just saying to them, when you pray, you need to open your heart and receive. I welcome you. And so it's like this, this is how we're receiving everyone when they come. That's, to me, the first experience of Minneapolis was this. Welcome. We've been waiting for you for a long time. And that I hope is what everyone will feel when they come here, whether they've been here before or not. This time on pilgrimage, I hope that you receive that welcome. And so receptivity for me is the way of contemplative prayer. There is a contemplative practice called fasting, almsgiving, reading of scripture that's within the Christian tradition. But there's also this one called pilgrimage, peregrinación, south of the border. And so I just offer this reflection for what we will be doing on August 8th in particular, which will, I hope, help us be in the right heart space when we come to Black Sunday on August 9th. What I would highlight to you is that a pilgrim is neither a tourist nor an explorer. And tourism does not reconnect us with the fundamental aspect of ourself, but pilgrimage does in a deep way. And the explorer is fixed in one idea, They have a quest. They have the spirit of the conquest. They want to obtain victory. They incarnate courage, honor, and valor. It's a hero's journey form of agency that the explorer has. And the tourist is obviously a consumer of experiences. What moves them is their belief in how they, in this movement, can see it as the people who claim the mountain or run a big race. In essence, they desired to go beyond their limits. But in the middle of the journey, they don't have any relationship with what is going on along the path they are trotting, often forlorn and isolated. So they conquer and thereby do not pay respect to the place. They don't relate with the more than human world. Instead, they want to beat the others, not work or play with them. And when they arrive, they capture the goal, they achieve that, and usually they want to go beyond that by obtaining claim to the journey as such. For instance, the depression of the Olympian and how they obtain their goal by getting the gold medal. And it's documented how many of these gold medal athletes feel this depression. This is the spirit of the explorer, the hero's journey. And if you go the distance, as we hear so often in the Olympics, a little far away, and in this particular metaphor, this is the spirit of the Western Enlightenment, progress, manifest destiny. And so I'm hoping that this pilgrimage will be decolonized space for us as we walk on the south side and we go to the north side on August 8th. The last thing that I'll share with you from this short reflection on pilgrimage is a poem by David White, and I'll just read it to you and that'll complete this time. Everything is waiting for you. Your great mistake is to act the drama, as if you were alone, as if life were a progressive and cunning crime, with no witness to the tiny hidden transgressions. To feel abandoned is to deny the intimacy of your surroundings. Surely, even you at times have felt the grand array, the swelling presence and the chorus crowding out your solo voice. You must note the way the soap dish enables you, or the window latch grants you freedom. Alertness is the hidden discipline of familiarity. The stairs are your mentor of things to come. The doors have always been there to frighten you and invite you. And the tiny speaker in the phone is your dream ladder to divinity. Put down the weight of your aloneness and ease into the conversation. The kettle is singing, even as it pours you a drink. The cooking pots have left their arrogant aloofness and seen the good in you at last. All the birds and creatures of the world are unutterably themselves. Everything is waiting for you. That completes my sharing today. I hope to see you all in Minneapolis in August.
Yeah, right on, Matthew. Thank you. Thank you so much. It was beautiful. Thank you for your reflections on what it means to be pilgrims. And for those of us who are called to come, the essence of this journey as a pilgrim, as a pilgrimage to Minneapolis. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but I love the reading as well. Thank you for bringing that beautiful reading and closing with that wonderful poem. Yeah, really beautiful, brother. Thank you. So Don and Tez and Matthew, we are called and we are coming. We've got Summer Joy and John Raymer are coming. This is going to be a compassion game. These 99 days are playing the compassion games, and being Minneapolis, we're playing to win. But we're in the compassion games, but we're coming. I'm coming from Australia. People are coming from different parts of the country and the world. Nina Meyerhoff is part of this. We've got Marty K. Casey, who's here, who's going to talk about Black Sunday in a few minutes. We're all converging in Minneapolis with this beautiful spirit of what you've created and what you've laid out, and this invitation and this welcome. And we're coming to learn from you, Don. We're coming to see how you did it. How did you transition from a spirituality that was all about getting into heaven to something now which is about making it heaven here on the earth, and the work that you've done with this engaged spirituality and wise mindset and creativity to make your part of the world a better place, and by doing that to help heal the whole world. So healing our city, healing our world. This is Don's platform that's being held, and we're all coming to support Pathways to Peace. Tez, you and your incredible leadership. This is an epic convergence coming, the spiritual traditions that are converging, the indigenous people through Matthew are connected with that will be there, the African American community, all of the migrants that are there in Minneapolis. There is every color of humanity there. There is a strong Hmong presence in Minneapolis, hill tribes from Southeast Asia. I mean, it's all there, Marty. And we're coming because we are called to being Minneapolis. And it really is, Marty, I just want to say a few words about what happened last August in Ferguson, because we had a peace pilgrimage to Ferguson in Missouri. And this was called Fields of Healing and Meeting in the Middle. But we came together through Marty's leadership. We had the mayor of Ferguson, the police chief, the fire department, and we walked. We had a peace walk with all the flags flying of one family, the beautiful flags, as well as the flags of every state of the United States. And we walked down, and we had the fire officers carrying flags and the police officers carrying flags, and our colorful peace pilgrims from all over coming together and carrying flags down to the peace pole, which was planted on the Caravan of Unity, Marty, in your place. And so this, when we were there and we were talking about, we've got to take this on the road, this recipe of music and ceremony and speeches and what had been created for Black Sunday over the last 6-7 years. And back then, Marty said, let's go to Minneapolis. Let that be the next place. So this is back in August. This is long before the events that Tez just shared with us, even were in prospect. And so now more than ever, the calling for us to come and to show up and to do ceremony together and to walk together, and Marty to speak together and to talk together and to speak the truth into beauty and goodness, which we're celebrating today and every day. But Marty, I want to honor you. Black Sunday was created in 2020. It's a beautiful initiative built around the anniversary of the killing of Michael Brown, and you dedicated the second Sunday every August to be Black Sunday. So Marty, we're coming to Minneapolis. We're going to be marking Black Sunday there on Sunday, the 9th of August. Everyone's welcome. And the welcome mat is put out. There's homestays available. This is not a commercial project. This is a community-based hosting. We've never done anything quite like this. It's incredibly special. But Marty, let's come to you. You caught Don's presentation, and of course Tez and Matthew. What would you like to say as we get ready to embark on this pilgrimage?
Wow. Well, first of all, let me just honor those who took the platform today. Amazing. I've been over here with pages and pages of notes, and I would believe that that's exactly what it should be like when we come to Minneapolis. This is a sharing and a caring of community. I'm excited to bring the essence of Black Sunday and Black Sun, S-O-N Day. Black Sunday, it simply means equal treatment. That's what it means, equal treatment. When we can culturally come together and we treat everyone the same, legally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, I just believe that is the world of peace that we will be living in. And hearing the speakers today, you all basically created the roadmap as to what that looks like and how that can happen. One of the things that I also, as I've heard the speakers, what I've come to realize with the work that I've been doing for over 30 years is that no matter the type of storm that hits our communities, The response of shelter and service must remain the same. Love thy neighbor. Love thy neighbor. So we are coming on if you will, from the spirit of what has happened in my own backyard with Michael Brown. And on that very day, August 9th, Sunday, is the actual anniversary of Michael Brown's death. And I shared this with a smaller group, but I want to say it now with those who are here. I want to call out some names: Emmett Till, Oscar Grant, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown. Before I get to Minneapolis, I want to tell you that we responded to those names by going to urgent care. But when we learned the name of George Floyd, we actually went to the emergency room in the hospital. That's the difference. That's how we've been able to save the lives. We understood that what we were dealing with, urgent care, could no longer be the response. We needed trauma doctors to show up for George Floyd. And it is my prayer that we continue to understand the level of urgency that we are dealing with when we are dealing with racism, when we're dealing with the things that has caused us to get to this place in terms of community and the destruction of community. We have to get back to loving thy neighbor. And so I am excited to be coming. I hope you all here tell us right now you're going to meet us there. As a matter of fact, tell us right now you're going to beat us there, because I run late for everything. So you got time. Get there before me. Show up, show out, but come and show in shelter and service. Doesn't matter that, because when Renee Good and Alex Purdy life was taken, it still was in the same framework. And it's important that we understand what loving thy neighbor really means. Love in action means all of us doing something for somebody else. Thank you.
Beautiful, Marty. Thank you. Thank you for jumping in there and bringing that powerful message. So it's happening. We're coming. We got people filling out the form and they're registering, and we're on our way. We're converging in Minneapolis on the 8th and 9th of August. Oh, look at that. That's the Black Sunday. Yes, of course. There it is. There it is. Beautiful, Marty. It's a very beautiful offering. And you know, we get now, this will be the 7th Black Sunday. We're coming to Minneapolis. It's perfect. And on the Saturday, the 8th, we're going to do a peace walk. So Don and Tez and Matthew and have created for us this gathering at George Floyd Square. We will begin at George Floyd Square, and from there we'll go on a peace walk, largely in silence, to some of these sites that are within distance of walking from that area. I think we're going to go to the place where Renee Good was killed, and I think we might go to where Alex Pretti was killed as well. So that's going to be the peace pilgrimage. We're going to have an incredible meal prepared by the Indigenous Kitchen that day as well, which is going to be amazing. And then I believe, Don, we're going to be touring some of the projects up in North Minneapolis and actually looking at the work that you and your colleagues have created through Healing Our City, Healing Our World. We're going to be coming and watching and witnessing and seeing it all. So that Saturday is going to be extraordinary immersion into the very heart and soul of Minneapolis. And then on Sunday, we have got the lineup, which will be broadcast out of Black Sunday, and there's going to be an incredible, powerful lineup of speakers, musicians that are going to be there getting the message out for those of us there. There'll be speakers from Minneapolis, there'll be speakers from the global community as well, and that's going to be spread out far and wide in Black Sunday. It's time to tell the truth, and this is an opportunity to come together with good people who have been, roots in the ground in this place. And while we've been doing World Unity Week for 7 years, and we get in the Zoom rooms and it's broadcast and it's wonderful, there is nothing like an in-person gathering when we come together. And I just love Matthew and Don and Tez, that the people are opening up their homes for us. This is a celebration of our common humanity. You know, this is a celebration of the resilience of the human spirit, and that together nothing can defeat the power and the beauty and the goodness of the human spirit. This has got an energy to it, which is not just for Minneapolis for these days, but this is something for the nation of the United States and for the world. And so we feel it in you know, kind of awe and trembling. We can feel the power of what is being called forth here. And it's at a higher level than any one of us. It's coming from that higher level. As Jonathan Granoff says, what's the most important instrument in the orchestra? And you think about that one. What is the most important instrument in the orchestra? And his answer is the tuning fork. And I think that there's something about this gathering where we're listening to the tuning fork, and there is a resonance and a coherence here, which is calling us together. So I don't think we're going to have time for comments from the audience, but I did want to come around, Don, Matthew, and Tez, and just have final comments from yourselves as we close this beautiful program. I've had a lot of comments, people telling me how much they're enjoying it. So thank you so much again. Thank you, Marty, for jumping in and issuing the invitation. It's so important. This is something we're doing together. And Don, let's come to you for your closing comments. We'll get you unmuted.
There we go. Yeah, we have such great potential as a human community to transcend our individualistic goals or our ethnic ethnocentricities or our racial identities and move into a space of oneness with each other and with creation. The potential is there, and I think the greatest gift that we've gotten from President Trump is the recognition of the importance of that move, and has moved us. They say we either grow through great pain or great love, but mostly humans grow through great pain. And this administration has provided for us that step on the ladder to spiritual growth, and we can embrace it in good spirit, knowing that that is the nature of the human story. And so this is another opportunity for us to transform pain into growth, and I look forward to it.
I love that. I love that. Thank you, Don. Thank you for your leadership and your kind and generous collaboration that's welcoming us all to come. Tez, let's come to you.
I'm just grateful for the opportunity for people to come and witness our incredible communities. And you know, when crisis occurs, there's a choice. People can either pull apart or pull together. And in this case, people pulled together in such glorious ways, far beyond what could be expressed here today. So as Don said, out of this tragedy, and of course the intergenerational trauma will be felt for a long time, but out of that we witnessed unity and great truth, beauty, and goodness. And so let it be a new beginning for each of us to take that experience and bring it into our everyday lives and live being Minneapolis.
Beautiful. I love that, Tez. Feels like we're going to be rolling 30 days into two. You know, we're going to have time to grieve the past authentically, time to really be open to what can happen, and then the powerful prayers for a new future for all of us. What a great gift you're all giving to us by rolling out this welcome mat. Brother Matthew, thank you. Let's come to you for your closing reflections. And do speak. Some people are saying you weren't too loud last time, Matthew, so if you don't mind speaking a little louder.
Tell me what Jesus you're talking about, and then I can respond, Ben. Oh, what's happening is there's an evangelism that's beginning to stir in all of us, and the good news is that there is a revival beginning, and it happened with a tent that went up in a parking lot over 6 years ago, and now you all get to be a part of that sacred canopy. You get to be under that sacred canopy, and thank goodness I heard Don share the story many times, but it was Sandra that said, well, you need to make the tent a lot bigger. It's not going to be 10 by 10. It's got to be like 30 by 30 or even more. So a big shout out to Sandra and my friend Brian, who's on here, extending the St. Jane House, which is an urban retreat center on the north side, to you all. We look forward to welcoming you. In Ojibwe, you say welcome by saying buju. And in Dakota and Lakota, you say hehani. So hehani, buju, welcome.
Yes, yes, I love that. Thank you, Matthew. By the way, that could be its whole own program about telling you what Jesus we're talking about. That could be a whole program. But listen, this has been really rich. It's been really amazing. This journey. Deep bows and gratitude to you. Super excited. We can feel the energy and the warmth of this, and just want to encourage anybody, if they're thinking about coming or they kind of feel called, but there's logistics and there's travel and there's expenses. I can tell you this with some conviction. If you do come, you're not going to regret it. So find a way to make it happen. If you feel any inkling to be there with us, find a way to show up and be there. There is a price involved. Sometimes there's a little bit of sacrifice of, to make holy. You got to choose one thing over another sometimes. But I would encourage anybody who's even remotely thinking about it, come. Let's being Minneapolis together in August. It's just a few weeks away. Don Samuels, Tezikiah Gabriel, Matthew Cobb, thank you so much. This was magnificent. Truth, beauty, goodness. Honoring to Martin Luther King as well. I love that you brought him in, Don, and I know it's a very important figure for a lot of us here, including Marty and John and Summer, and we're coming. We're on our way. So we shall see you soon, and much love and blessings. Gratitude.